The rain hammered the cracked pavement of downtown Seattle like 1,000 accusing fingers, but Alex couldn't hear it over the roar in his ears. He clutched the crumpled note in his fist, the words, "You're next," smeared in red ink that looked too much like blood, and bolted into the storm-slicked alley where shadows swallowed secrets whole. Behind him, footsteps splashed, relentless, closing in, and in that heartbeat of terror, Alex realized the ghost from his past wasn't buried after all. It was hunting him. He'd always known saving Jamie's life that night 10 years ago would haunt him, but not like this. Not with a stalker who knew every scar on his soul, every whispered promise they'd made as scared kids in foster care. Alex's lungs burned as he rounded the corner, heart slamming against ribs that felt too fragile, too exposed. The alley dead-ended at a chain-link fence, barbed wire glinting like teeth under the sodium lamps, and there was nowhere left to run. A hand clamped his shoulder, firm, unyielding, and Alex spun, fist raised, only to freeze as thunder cracked overhead. Jamie's face emerged from the downpour, eyes wild with something fiercer than fear, possession. "Get behind me," Jamie growled, voice low and edged with steel, shoving Alex back as the footsteps echoed closer. In that instant, Alex wondered if the boy he'd pulled from the brink was now the wall between him and the abyss, or the chain dragging him under. Jamie didn't wait for questions. He yanked Alex toward the fence, fingers digging into his wrist like he was anchoring a lifeline. The metal rattled under their weight as they climbed, rain turning their grips to slips of desperation. Alex's mind raced back to that foster home in Tacoma, the one with the peeling wallpaper and the foster dad's rage that exploded like summer storms. He'd been 14, scrawny and sharp-tongued, the kid who mouthed off because silence felt like surrender. Jamie was 12, wide-eyed and silent, the new boy with bruises blooming like ink under his sleeves. That night, when the foster dad, Mr. Harlan, with his belt and his Bible verses twisted into weapons, had cornered Jamie in the basement, Alex hadn't thought twice. He'd grabbed the nearest thing, a rusted pipe from the laundry pile, and swung it like his whole world depended on the crack it made against bone. Harlan crumpled, blood pooling on the concrete, and Alex dragged Jamie out into the night, the two of them running until dawn painted the sound in bruised purples. "You saved me," Jamie had whispered then, clutching Alex's hand like it was the only solid thing left. Alex had shrugged it off, called it stupid luck, but the weight of those words had lodged in his chest like shrapnel. Now, as they tumbled over the fence into a vacant lot choked with weeds and discarded tires, Jamie pulled him down behind a rusted dumpster, breath coming in controlled bursts. The footsteps paused at the alley's mouth, then faded into the storm's symphony. Alex sagged against the cold metal, adrenaline crashing like waves on jagged rocks. "How did you know?" he gasped, wiping rain from his eyes. Jamie's gaze locked on his, dark and unreadable, the scar above his left brow, a souvenir from that night, silver in the lightning flash. "I've been watching," Jamie said simply, as if it explained the impossible. His hand lingered on Alex's arm, thumb tracing a vein that pulsed too fast. "Ever since the first letter came. You're not alone in this anymore." Alex's stomach twisted. Letters? Plural? The one in his pocket felt heavier now, a prelude to a symphony of threats he hadn't even heard. Jamie's protectiveness, once a quiet shadow in their drifting lives, had sharpened into something obsessive, a blade held too close to the skin. They waited in silence, the rain a curtain between them and the world, until Jamie deemed it safe. He led the way through backstreets Alex barely recognized, his stride purposeful, like he'd mapped every escape route in the city. Seattle's underbelly unfolded around them, neon signs flickering over dive bars, the distant wail of sirens blending with the ferry horns on Elliott Bay. Alex trailed, questions piling like storm clouds. How long had Jamie been tailing him? What did watching really mean? And why, after a decade of sporadic texts and missed calls, did he show up now, like a specter summoned by Alex's unraveling life? They ended up at Jamie's apartment in Capitol Hill, a third-floor walk-up with mismatched furniture and posters of indie bands peeling at the edges. It smelled of takeout ramen and fresh coffee, a bachelor's chaos that felt oddly safe. Jamie locked the door, 3 deadbolts, Alex noted with a chill, and tossed him a towel from the bathroom. "Dry off. I'll make tea." His voice was steady, but his eyes darted to the windows, scanning the fire escape like it was enemy territory. Alex peeled off his soaked jacket, the note tumbling to the floor. Jamie snatched it up before he could, unfolding it with careful fingers. His jaw tightened, a muscle ticking like a countdown. "This is the fourth one," he said, not looking up. "They started after you got that promotion at the gallery. Someone's jealous. Or scared." Alex blinked, water dripping from his hair. Promotion? The job at the Seattle Art Collective was a lifeline, curating exhibits on queer history, finally turning his degree in visual arts into something that paid rent. But enemies? His life was a quiet orbit. Brunches with friends from the community center, late nights sketching portraits that bled his secrets onto canvas. "Who?" Alex demanded, sinking onto the sagging couch. Jamie hesitated, then pulled a shoebox from under the coffee table, spilling Polaroids and printouts across the rug. Stalked photos. Alex laughing at a Pride afterparty. Alex alone in his studio. Alex frozen mid-stride on a rainy sidewalk. Each marked with that same red scrawl. "Mine to break." Jamie's collection was meticulous, timestamps noted on the backs, cross-referenced with Alex's social media posts. "I've been tracking patterns," Jamie explained, voice dropping to a murmur. "The sender's local. Knows your routines. But I won't let them touch you." Gratitude warred with unease in Alex's chest. This was the boy he'd saved, grown into a man with haunted eyes and a vigilance that bordered on paranoia. They'd lost touch after emancipation. Alex bouncing between community colleges, Jamie enlisting in the Army right out of high school, deployments to places that left him quieter, sharper. Reunion texts had been tentative bridges. "Missed the sound. Remember that diner with the killer fries?" But now, Jamie's protectiveness felt like a cage, gilded with care. That night, sleep evaded Alex on the pull-out couch, the city's pulse thrumming through thin walls. Dreams tangled, Harlan's belt whistling, Jamie's small hand in his, red ink bleeding into rain. He woke to Jamie's silhouette in the kitchen, brewing coffee at dawn, back turned like a sentinel. "We need a plan," Jamie said over mugs steaming with black brew. "You can't go home. Stay here. I'll handle security, cameras, alerts on your phone." Alex nodded, but the word stuck. Stay here. It echoed the foster home's suffocating closeness, where survival meant leaning too hard on fragile bonds. Days blurred into a tense rhythm. Jamie worked remotely as a graphic designer, his laptop a fortress of encrypted files, but his focus was Alex. Meals planned around allergies Alex had mentioned once in a text, playlists curated to soothe his sketching marathons. Friends noticed the change when Alex dodged brunches, citing flu. At the gallery, whispers followed. The new curator, openly gay and unapologetic, rubbing conservative donors the wrong way. Was that the spark? Or something deeper, a grudge from the past slithering back? One evening, as fog rolled in from the bay, Jamie returned from a run with a duffel of Alex's clothes pilfered from his apartment. "Couldn't risk you going back," he said, avoiding Alex's gaze. Inside were sketches Alex hadn't shared, nudes of anonymous models, but one portrait stood out. Jamie's face, young and unscarred, eyes alight with unspoken longing. Alex's breath caught. He'd drawn it after their last meet-up, a coffee in Pioneer Square where Jamie's knee had brushed his under the table, electric and unspoken. "You kept this." Jamie's voice was soft, fingers tracing the pencil lines. Alex flushed, the room shrinking. "It was you. How I remember you." The air thickened, charged like pre-storm static. Jamie stepped closer, hand hovering near Alex's cheek, then dropping as if burned. "I never forgot what you did, or how you looked at me, like I was worth saving." His confession hung, raw and unguarded, the first crack in his armored vigilance. But the stalker didn't pause for vulnerability. The next note arrived via gallery mail. A photo of Alex and Jamie entering the apartment, time-stamped yesterday, with two can play at protection. Panic surged, hot and familiar. Jamie's face paled, but resolve hardened his features. "We're going public," he declared, pulling out his phone. "Police. Now." Alex hesitated. Cops in Seattle had a spotty record with queer cases, biases lurking like landmines, but Jamie's certainty anchored him. As they filed the report downtown, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. Alex glimpsed the depth of Jamie's fear, not just for safety, but for the fragile us they'd only begun to unearth. The investigation kicked off sluggishly, detectives eyeing their story with skepticism that bordered on dismissal. Stalkers escalate. One said, a burly guy with a mustache like a 70s cop show. But two guys? Could be a lover's spat. Jamie's hand clenched under the table, knuckles white, but Alex squeezed back. Stay calm. For us. Leads trickled. The note's paper traced to a Capitol Hill stationery shop. CCTV grainy, but showing a hooded figure. Nights grew longer, Jamie's insomnia feeding into stakeouts from the fire escape, binoculars trained on the street below. In the quiet hours, truths surfaced like flotsam after a tide. Over midnight confessions fueled by cheap whiskey, Jamie admitted the army had broken something in him. PTSD whispers that made crowds feel like minefields. Touch a trigger. You were my anchor, he said, staring at the floor. Pulling away after. It was self-preservation. But losing you? Worse than any blast. Alex shared his own scars. The string of failed dates. Men who saw his queerness as a phase or a fetish, leaving him armored in solitude. Their friendship, tentative as it was, felt like home, a port in Seattle's relentless gray. Yet tension simmered beneath the warmth. Jamie's protectiveness chafed, vetoing Alex's solo gallery runs, insisting on driving him everywhere in his battered Subaru. I can't lose you again, he'd mutter when pressed, eyes shadowed. Alex pushed back one afternoon in the apartment, voice rising over the hum of the fridge. This isn't saving, it's smothering. I'm not that kid in the basement anymore. Jamie recoiled, hurt flashing like lightning. And I'm not helpless. But if I don't hold on, the unspoken trailed off, I'll shatter. The breaking point came on a crisp October evening, leaves skittering like warnings across California Anderson Park. Alex had slipped out for air, defying Jamie's caution, needing space to breathe without the weight of watchful eyes. The park buzzed with joggers and dog walkers, pride flags still fluttering from summer poles, a reminder of community, resilience. He sat on a bench, sketching the fountain's arc, when a shadow fell across the page. Not Jamie. A man, mid-40s, wiry build, face half hidden by a beanie, loomed, breath sour with intent. You think you're safe here? He hissed, voice laced with venom. Parading your lifestyle, corrupting everything good. The word landed like a slap, echoing Harlan's rants, and Alex's pencil snapped in his grip. Homophobia, raw and unfiltered, the kind that festered in Seattle's fringes, suburban exiles clinging to outdated hates. He stood, heart pounding, but the man lunged, grabbing for his sketchbook with fingers like claws. Filth like you. Struggle erupted, pages tearing, Alex shoving back with a surge of fury honed from years of swallowing slurs. A crowd gathered, phones out, but it was Jamie's roar that cut through. Get off him. He barreled from the path, tackling the attacker with precision born of training, pinning him until park rangers swarmed. In the aftermath, sirens wailing, Alex trembled against Jamie's chest, the sketchbook ruined at their feet. The man, identified later as a disgruntled ex-donor to the gallery, radicalized online into anti-LGBT crusades, spat curses as cuffs clicked. Monsters, he snarled, eyes on Alex. But Jamie leaned in, voice ice. The only monster here is you. Police hauled him away, the pieces clicking. The promotion had triggered his rage, notes a coward's escalation. Relief washed in waves, but cracks lingered. Back home, bandaging a scraped knuckle, Alex confronted the undercurrent. You followed me. Again. Jamie's shoulders slumped, defeat etching lines around his mouth. I saw you leave. Couldn't. The what-ifs. Tears pricked Alex's eyes, not anger, but ache. We're equals in this, Jamie. Or we're nothing. The silence stretched, heavy with the ghosts of imbalance, until Jamie nodded, slow and solemn. Teach me how. Healing wasn't linear. Therapy sessions at the community center unpacked layers. Jamie's hypervigilance a trauma echo. Alex's independence a shield against abandonment. They rebuilt deliberately. Date nights at hole-in-the-wall Ticarius, where knees brushed without strategy. Walks along the waterfront, hands linked against the chill. Friends enveloped them. Mia, the fiery lesbian barista who officiated mock weddings for laughs. Theo, non-binary artist with tattoos mapping their transitions. The Circle, buffered prejudices, a chosen family forged in Seattle's eclectic heart. Winter crept in, holidays laced with tentative joy. On Christmas Eve, snow dusting the Space Needle like powdered sugar, Jamie proposed, not rings, but promises. Under mistletoe in the apartment, lips brushing tentative, he whispered, "Let me protect with you." Partners. Alex's yes was a breath, a bridge crossed. The kiss deepened, not fire but hearth, warmth against the cold. But stories twist, even in thaw. Spring brought a letter, not threat, but confession. Anonymous, postmarked Tacoma, "I was wrong. Harlan's shadow lingers, but you broke it." Enclosed, a faded photo, them as boys, arms slung in defiant camaraderie. The sender? A former foster sibling, guilt-ridden, seeking amends. Forgiveness bloomed uneasy, a phone call laced with tears, but it sealed old wounds. By summer, the gallery's queer exhibit drew crowds, Alex's curation a beacon. Jamie's designs graced the posters, their collaboration seamless. Pride marched vibrant, rainbows reclaiming streets once hostile. In the throng, hands clasped, Alex glanced at Jamie, scarred, steadfast, and saw not a savior or saved, but equal. The boy he'd pulled from darkness now walked beside him, terrors tamed into trust. Yet in quiet moments, Alex traced the note's ghost in his pocket, a reminder. Love's fiercest battles were internal, waged in whispers and wills. And in Jamie's vigilant gaze, softened now to adoration, he found the strength to believe they'd saved each other, after all. The sun dipped low over Puget Sound, painting the waves in molten gold, but Alex's thoughts churned darker than the tide. 6 months post-Stalker, life had settled into a rhythm that felt almost normal. Gallery openings with Jamie's arm a casual anchor at his waist, lazy Sundays sketching in Discovery Park where dogwood petals confettied the paths. But normalcy was a fragile veneer, and tonight, as they navigated the crowded ferry to Bainbridge Island for Mia's birthday bash, unease prickled like static before a storm. Jamie sensed it, of course, his attunement a quiet superpower. "What's eating you?" he murmured, lips brushing Alex's ear amid the hum of engines and chatter. Alex hesitated, the weight of unspoken words heavy as the duffel at his feet. "That call from yesterday. The foster center." Jamie's brow furrowed, hand tightening on Alex's. The call had been innocuous on surface, an invite to a reunion for emancipated youth, a chance to give back. But beneath, echoes of Harlan's house, the basement's damp chill. "I don't know if I can face it," Alex admitted, voice lost in the salt-laced wind. Jamie pulled him closer, chin resting on his shoulder. "Then we don't. Or we do, together. Your call." The we landed soft, a bomb, but Alex's mind snagged on fractures. Therapy had unearthed resentments. Jamie's early Army enlistment as abandonment, Alex's silence as rejection. They'd navigated it, but scars itched in humid vulnerability. The party pulsed with life. Mia's backyard strung with Edison bulbs, grill smoke curling like invitations. Laughter ricocheted, Theo belting karaoke butchery of WAP, queer icons clinking bottles in solidarity. Alex loosened, Jamie's thumb circling his palm in Morse code of reassurance. But as night deepened, a stranger approached, tall, angular, with eyes like chipped flint. Alex Rivera? From the old Harlan place? The name hit like a gut punch, party noise muffling to a roar. She was Lena, another foster alum, her smile brittle as autumn leaves. "Heard you're curating now." Big shot. Small talk veered sharp. Harlan's trial. The plea deal that freed him on technicalities, his death in a bar fight years later. "Justice, sorta," Lena said, swigging beer. "But the kids. Some didn't make it." Her gaze slid to Jamie, appraising. "You two were thick as thieves back then. Saved his ass, right?" Alex nodded, throat tight, but Jamie stiffened beside him, territorial instinct flaring. Lena lingered, stories spilling like overproof liquor. Other runaways, whispers of an underground network in Tacoma aiding queer youth. "You should come. Share your story." The offer tempted, a thread to weave past into purpose, but dread coiled. Jamie excused them politely, steering Alex to a hammock strung between oaks. She's fishing, he said low. Or worse, paranoia? Or pattern recognition? Alex sighed, hammock swaying gentle. Not everyone's a threat, Jay. Let me breathe. The argument simmered unspoken through cake and toasts, resurfacing on the ferry home. Stars wheeled overhead, ferry rocking like a cradle, but words rocked harder. I'm not clipping your wings, Jamie insisted, voice strained. But after everything, the stalker, the notes, caution's not crazy. Alex whirled, salt spray stinging. Caution or control? You tail me to the park. That wasn't protection, it was possession. Hurt cracked Jamie's facade, raw as exposed wire. I can't unsee you bleeding. Can't risk. The ferry horn blared, swallowing the rest. Silence stretched, a chasm. Alex retreated to the rail, staring at the black water's gleam. Below, secrets lurked, currents pulling under, washing up bones. He'd always been the rescuer, but now? Mirrors reflected a man unmoored, love's anchor dragging as much as it steadied. Dawn found them fractured, Jamie crashing on the couch while Alex tossed in the bedroom, dreams replaying the basement. Pipes swinging, Jamie's whimpers. Waking to coffee's aroma, apology hung in the steam. I'm sorry, Jamie said first, eyes red-rimmed. Therapy's teaching me boundaries. Trying. Alex crossed the room, cup warm in hands. Me too. Talking it out, not bottling. They embraced, tentative, bodies aligning like puzzle edges worn smooth. The reunion loomed, a specter in late May. Alex committed, Jamie's support a quiet undercurrent. No tales, just check-ins. The center in Tacoma squatted on a weedy lot, murals of fists raised in solidarity masking cinderblock scars. Inside, folding chairs circled a facilitator, Dr. Reyes, a trans elder with a voice like aged whiskey. Stories unfurled, addictions conquered, families rebuilt, losses mourned in candlelit vigils. Alex's turn came, pulse thundering. I was the fighter, he began, Jamie's hand a ghost touch in memory. Saved a kid from hell. But saving myself? That's the long haul. Applause rippled, but eyes locked on his. Lena's, probing, a young trans kid's, wide with hope. Afterward, over vending machine sodas, connections sparked, volunteering slots, art workshops for at-risk youth. Jamie waited outside, leaning on the Subaru, smiled genuine when Alex emerged buoyant. Proud of you, he said, pulling him into a kiss that tasted of possibility. But twists coiled in summer's heat. Gallery buzzed with a new exhibit, Shadows of Resilience, queer artists mapping trauma. Alex's piece, a diptych of Jamie, young and shadowed, then illuminated, drew acclaim, but backlash simmered online. Trolls swarmed, promoting deviance. Then, a break-in at the studio, sketches slashed, sinners spray-painted in red. Echoes of the stalker, or fresh hate. Jamie mobilized, installing locks, but Alex pushed for community, a panel discussion at the center, voices united against erasure. The event packed the room, Dr. Reyes moderating, Theo's poetry slicing silences. Protesters picketed outside, church groups with signs like billboards of bile. But inside, solidarity armored them. A heckler breached, shouting slurs, but the trans kid from the reunion, Riley, 17 and fierce, stood, voice steady. Your hate's the shadow. We're the light. The moment crystallized, Alex's chest swelling. Later, over pho in the International District, he toasted Riley. Kid's got fire. Jamie chuckled, chopsticks pausing. Like someone I know. Intimacy deepened. Not grand gestures, but depths. Jamie opening about army nightmares. Alex sharing canvases unfinished, vulnerabilities bared like fresh ink. Fall whispered warnings, leaves turning traitor red. A letter arrived at the gallery, not threat, but invitation. Harlan's estranged sister, seeking closure. He was broken too, it read. Forgive. Alex wrestled, Jamie's counsel balanced. Your peace, not hers. The meeting in a neutral cafe was awkward. Tea cooling untouched, stories of a man unraveled by his own demons. No absolution, but release. Harlan humanized, not monster eternal. As Thanksgiving neared, tensions eased into gratitude. Family pieced from fragments. Mia hosting, Theo's vegan turkey flop, Riley tagging along wide-eyed. Laughter healed, toast to survival. In the kitchen, Jamie cornered Alex against the counter, flour-dusted kiss sweet. This, us, is the win. Alex melted, barriers crumbling. Yet climax brewed in December's chill. An anonymous tip, the break-in tied to a rival curator, envious of Alex's rise, masking bigotry. Confrontation in the gallery's back office. Words flying, accusations landing like punches. "You're a token," the man sneered. Alex's retort burned. "I'm the truth you fear." Security escorted him out, exhibit unscathed, career bolstered by the fallout. New Year's Eve sparkled, fireworks bursting over the Needle. On the apartment roof, bundled against frost, Jamie pulled a small box, not ring, but keys. To the future. Ours. Alex's laugh bubbled, tears freezing on lashes. Love, once a rescue, now a horizon. But stories loop, echoes faint. A final sketch, them entwined, scars shared. The boy saved became guardian, then partner, terrified no more, but tender. In Seattle's endless rain, they bloomed. Snow dusted the evergreens like forgotten confetti from last year's pride. But the air in Alex's studio crackled with the dry spark of creation. Easels leaned like sentinels, canvases scarred with half-formed visions, and the scent of turpentine mingled with the espresso Jamie brewed strong enough to wake the dead. It was mid-January, the post-holiday slump when Seattle grayed into monotony, but for Alex, momentum built. A solo show looming at the Fry Art Museum, his queer narratives finally commanding space. Jamie hovered at the periphery, not intrusive but present, refilling mugs, adjusting lights with a designer's eye. Their rhythm had matured, a dance of interdependence rather than dependence. "That line's killer," Jamie noted, nodding to a charcoal study of intertwined hands. One calloused from combat grips, the other inked with artist's veins. Alex smirked, smudging shadow. Inspired by a muse who won't quit posing. Jamie's grin flashed, boyish under the scar, and for a moment, the world narrowed to that warmth. But fractures lingered, subtle as hairline cracks in glass. The Harlan sisters' olive branch had stirred sediments, nightmares resurfacing, therapy sessions stretching longer. Alex caught Jamie staring at reflections, windows, mirrors, like checking for phantoms. Old habits, he'd dismiss. But Alex saw the toll, the vigilance that saved them once now a thief of peace. The call came on a Tuesday, voice distorted through gallery static. "Mr. Rivera? Package for you." Alex arrived to find a battered envelope, no return address, contents spilling ominous. Clippings of his exhibit reviews, each underlined in red, deviant influence. Tucked inside, a photo. Him and Jamie at the park confrontation, circled faces with bullseyes. Dread iced his spine. "Not again," he whispered, dialing Jamie before the door clicked shut. Jamie's arrival was a whirlwind, Subaru screeching curbside, face thunderous. "We go to the cops. Now." The precinct hummed with fluorescent indifference. Detective Vasquez, a Latina dyke with a no-bullshit vibe, taking notes with raised brow. "Sounds like escalation from the ex-donor. We'll dust for prints." But her eyes said resources thin, queer cases deprioritized in budget crunches. Jamie paced, energy coiled. "I'll hire private. Whatever it takes." Alex vetoed the PI. Too invasive, echoing the smothering he'd fought. Community first. They rallied. Mia hacking security cams, Theo's network sniffing online trails. Leads fizzled, IP bounces to VPNs, no faces. Tension mounted, Jamie's sleep fracturing into catnaps. Alex's brushstrokes turning jagged. Mid-February, the show prep peaked, models posing in the studio for live sittings. Riley dropped by, now in turning, eyes bright with ambition. "Teach me shading." Alex obliged, but distraction gnawed. Every creak a footstep, shadows lengthening accusatory. Jamie arrived mid-session, bearing takeout, but froze at the door. The model, Ethan, a lithe guy with easy smiles, lounged shirtless, pose languid. Jealousy flickered, unbidden, Jamie's jaw tight, gaze sharpening. Later, over lo mein, it erupted soft. "He's just a subject," Alex soothed, but Jamie's confession tumbled. "Seeing him with you stirs the old fear." Losing ground. Vulnerability bared, Alex cupped his face. "You're my constant." Art's the outlet, not the escape. They made love then, not urgent, but reaffirming, bodies mapping trust in the dim. Valentine's blurred into a stakeout of sorts. Anonymous tip leading to a dingy print shop in Pioneer Square. Disguised in beanies and hoods, they tailed a suspect. Nervous tick, furtive glances. Confrontation in an alley. Why us? Alex demanded, voice steady. The man crumbled, a low-level operative for an anti-LGBT group, paid to intimidate rising voices. They said it'd shut you down. Jamie's restraint held, cops summoned, justice clicking like tumblers. Relief crested, but ripples spread. The incident fueled media. Local news profiling Alex's show as defiance in color, drawing allies and adversaries. Protests swelled outside the Fry opening, counterchants from queer activists drowning hate. Inside, under crystal chandeliers, Alex's pieces glowed, narratives of survival, love's quiet revolutions. Jamie's toast at the reception. To the boy who saved me, and the man who keeps saving us. Cheers erupted, Riley whooping loudest. Spring thawed defenses. They volunteered at the center, Alex leading art therapy, Jamie facilitating peer support. Bonds deepened. With Lena, now a tentative friend, with Riley, mentor-mentee, evolving to family. A weekend getaway to the Olympics. Hiking moss-draped trails, tent pitched under stars, mended micro-tears. Around campfire crackle, Jamie shared army letters, unread till now. Wish you were here. Hey, you're the home I carry. Alex reciprocated, unveiling a private canvas. Their profiles merged, horizons shared. Our story, he said. Jamie's kiss was fierce, gratitude incarnate. But summer storms brewed. Gallery expansion talks surfaced. Alex headhunted for a San Francisco spot. Queer epicenter, but uprooting roots. Dilemma gnawed, ambition versus anchor. Nights debating over waterfront IPAs. Jamie's support laced bittersweet. Chase it. I'll follow. Or we find middle. Alex wavered, Seattle's embrace tight. Climax crashed in July heat. A bomb threat. Hoax, but evacuating the exhibit. Tied to the group, ringleader unmasked. Harlan's nephew, grudge generational. Raid dramatic. SWAT breaching a Fremont warehouse. Arrests flashing on news. Alex testified, voice unwavering. Jamie's hand is talisman. Aftermath. Commendations, but exhaustion. San Fran offer withdrawn. Timing off, but a compromise. Seattle collective expanding northward. Alex lead curator. Balance struck. Autumn harvest. Harvest of growth. Pride retrospective at the center. Alex emceeing. Jamie DJing sets that pulsed with heart. In the crowd, hands linked, they danced. Past shadows long, but light winning. Winter circled back, softer. On anniversary of the alley chase, Jamie gifted a locket. Photo of them, boys in rain. Terrified then. Grateful now. Alex's vow, always with you. Echoes faded, love enduring. Protected, not possessed, saved, side by side. The humid haze of Seattle's rare heat wave clung like a second skin, turning the apartment's fan into a futile whisper against the swelter. Alex wiped sweat from his brow, palette knife scraping across canvas in broad, frustrated strokes. A stormscape of bruised skies over the sound, mirroring the unrest brewing in his chest. The solo show had catapulted him into spotlight. Interviews with the stranger, features in queer mags, but fame's glare unearthed old insecurities, like barnacles on a hull. Jamie moved through the space with purpose, unpacking groceries, fresh basil for pesto, Alex's favorite, his presence a steady hum. Their life had woven tighter. Shared lease on a Belltown loft with bay views, mornings tangled in sheets, evenings debating art theory over Pinot. But lately, Jamie's quiet intensity had edged toward withdrawal, phone screens angled away, late client calls stretching into hours. It started innocuous, a text from an unknown number, Jamie dismissing it as spam. Then, a hushed argument in the bathroom, door cracked just enough for Alex to catch fragments. Not now. I handled it. Confrontation simmered over dinner, salmon flaking under forks. Who's texting you? Alex asked, casual as he could muster. Jamie's fork paused, eyes evading. Old army buddy. Nothing. Lie hung. acrid as overcooked fish. Alex pressed, voice rising. After everything, stalkers, threats, don't shut me out. Jamie's chair scraped back, pacing to the window where fairies ghosted the dusk. It's classified. PTSD group thing. Can't drag you in. Truth half spoken, but the wall it built chilled deeper than any rain. Days stretched taut. Alex buried in curating a youth exhibit at the center. Riley's pieces front and center, raw explorations of dysphoria and desire. Jamie's support waned, missed volunteer shifts, excuses piling like unread emails. Mia noticed at brunch, her espresso sharp. He's spiraling. Talk before it breaks. Alex nodded, but fear gnawed. Echoes of Foster silences, bonds fraying unseen. The fracture widened mid-August, during a gallery mixer. Schmoozers swirled, champagne fizzing, but Jamie arrived late. Ty askew, breath faintly boozy. Introductions faltered, his handshake limp, smile strained. In a corner, Alex overheard. Jamie on phone, urgent whisper, tell them no. I'm done. Panic flickered. Done with what? Ride home silent, city lights streaking accusatory. Spill. Alex demanded at a red light. Jamie gripped the wheel, knuckles blanched. I re-enlisted. Reserves. Part-time. The words detonated, shattering the quiet they'd built. Why? Alex choked, betrayal bitter. Money's tight with the loft. And structure. Helps the noise in my head. Alex recoiled, seatbelt cutting. Structure? Or escape? From us. Jamie's denial cracked. It's not. But damage landed. Arguments escalated. Jamie accusing Alex of idealizing stability, Alex hurling abandonment fears. Door slams punctuated nights, couch a cold exile. Therapy became battlefield, Dr. Reyes mediating via Zoom. Trauma's a thief, she said, voice steady. Steals choices, but you reclaim them together. Homework, daily check-ins, no walls. Progress stuttered, Jamie's vulnerability peaking, then retreating. September's equinox brought pivot. A center event, Queer Vets panel, Jamie moderating reluctantly. Stories poured, deployments tolls, homecomings isolations. One vet, broad-shouldered with prosthetic gleam, shared, love saved me. Don't let pride bury it. Jamie's eyes glistened, hands seeking Alex's in the crowd. Post-panel, over rooftop tacos, confession flowed. The texts, recruiters, tempting the old adrenaline. But losing you? That's the real casualty. Alex's forgiveness tentative, but real. Then fight for this. Us. Jamie nodded, resolve kindling. October twisted fate. Anonymous email to the gallery. Leaked army docs. Jamie's name redacted, but ties clear. Classified op gone south. Civilian casualties implied. Smear campaign. War criminal curator's lover. Backlash erupted. Cancellations. Protests. Jamie crumbled. Isolation deepening. I can't tank you. Alex rallied. Public statement. Love doesn't erase pasts. It honors them. Allies mobilized. Theo's viral comic defending vets' complexities. Mia's petition surging signatures. Investigation revealed source. Disgruntled ex-army peer. Grudge personal. Legal slapdown swift, but scars lingered. Jamie's reserves commitment dissolved in honorable discharge. Therapy intensifying. November's chill mirrored introspection. They hiked Rattlesnake Ledge, autumn blaze underfoot, summit views vast. At the top, Jamie knelt. Not proposal, but plea. Stay. Build with me. Alex pulled him up, embrace fierce. Already am. December danced redemption. Holiday market strolls, glue-wine warming palms, gifts thoughtful. Alex a leather-bound sketchbook etched our chapters. Jamie custom dog tags, anchor and storm. Center Gala sparkled, Riley's award a highlight. To mentors who see you. New Year dawned collaborative, joint exhibit proposal. Entwined shadows, their narratives intertwined. In the loft, canvases side by side, love's palette rich. Spring bloomed mutual. San Fran whispers returned, dual offer. Jamie graphic lead, Alex curation. Decision weighed, roots versus reach. Weekend in the city, fog-kissed bridges, Castro's vibrancy. Together? Jamie asked, hand in hand. Alex's yes sealed it. Move orchestrated chaos, packing marathons, farewell bash with tear-streaked toasts. Seattle goodbye poignant. Pike Place fish tosses, final ferry ride. But forward pulled stronger. SF arrival electric. Mission loft with muraled walls. Gallery humming innovation. Challenges met tandem. Bigot board members navigated. Community forged anew. Summer solstice. Beach bonfire. Waves lapping confessions. Saved me twice, Jamie murmured. Alex smiled. We save each other. Cycles turned. Love resilient. Protected in partnership. Fears transmuted to fuel. The foghorn's mournful bellow cut through San Francisco's perpetual mist, a siren's call that matched the ache in Alex's throat as he unpacked the last box in their Mission District walk-up. Cardboard towers loomed like modern totems, labeled in Jamie's precise script. Books, queer theory, art supplies, don't crush, fragile, hearts. The city thrummed below, clanging cable cars, taqueria salsas wafting, but relocation's dust settled heavy, stirring coughs of doubt. Jamie emerged from the kitchen, sleeves rolled, offering a tamale steaming with pork and verde. Fuel for conquering. His smile crinkled eyes, but Alex caught the undercurrent. Restless energy, the army discipline chafing against civilian flux. SF's queer pulse was louder than Seattle's. Rainbow crosswalks, drag brunches eternal, but anonymity bred its own isolations. Missed the sound yet? Jamie asked, casual. Missed the rain, Alex quipped, but truth twisted. Missed Mia's barbs, Theo's chaos, Riley's growth under their wing. Texts bridged gaps. Mia's don't ghost, bitches. Riley's exhibit selfies, but distance stretched emotional elastics taut. Work anchored. Alex's curation at the LGBT Historical Society dove deep, archiving AIDS crisis artifacts. Voices silenced no more. Jamie freelanced graphics for nonprofits, logos pulsing pride. Synergy sparked, collaborative pitch for an interactive install, mapping migration stories of queer diaspora. But honeymoon haze shattered in April showers. Jamie's PTSD flared. Night terrors of sand-swept ops, waking sweat-soaked, fists clenched. Sorry, he'd mutter, retreating to the fire escape for dawn smokes. Alex pursued, blanket draped. Talk. Or it festers. Fragments emerged. Guilt over the leaked docs, the ops ghosts. Collateral I couldn't prevent. Therapy adapted. SF's network vast. A queer vet group Jamie joined. Circles of shared scars. Alex attended as ally, learning triggers. Fireworks mimicking mortars. Crowds compressing like foxholes. Progress incremental. Breathing apps synced. Date nights in Golden Gate Park. Picnics under cypresses where hands laced unhurried. May bloomed betrayal's thorn. An ex, Jamie's army fling, closeted sergeant, surfaced via email. Missed you in the sandbox. SF. Flirtation veiled as nostalgia, but Jamie's delete swift, face ashen. Alex glimpsed the thread, jealousy spiking irrational. Old flames die hard. Accusation slipped, sharp. Jamie recoiled, hurt mirroring. That was survival. You're home. But doubt seeded, Alex's sketches turning self-lacerating. Figures fractured, colors bled. Mia's video call cut through. Insecurities are liars. Trust the build. Perspective shifted. Apology over sourdough and chowder. Reaffirmation in tangled sheets. June's Pride supernova. Parades thundering Market Street. Floats, beaded glory. They marched with the Historical Society contingent, banners aloft, past fuel's future. Riley flew down, crashing on their couch, wide-eyed at the scale. Seattle's cute. This is revolution. Joint panel. Alex on art as activism. Jamie on resilience in ranks. Riley bridging gens. Applause thundered. Connections forged. Mentorships. Collaborations. But undercurrents roiled. Gallery rival. Slick curator named Victor. All ivy polish and veiled barbs. Poached a project, crediting loosely. Inspiration's free. He smirked at a networking mixer. Alex seethed, but Jamie's counsel cooled. Outshine, don't outfight. Retaliation creative. A pop-up exhibit in the Castro. Street artists amplifying stolen narratives. Buzz viral. Victor's schmooze soured. July heat wave-tested bonds. Power outage plunged the loft dark. Fridge humming dead. Intimacy forced. Candles flickered. Board games devolving to truths. Alex admitting relocation fears. Am I chasing or fleeing? Jamie's raw. SF's second chance. No more running solo. Vulnerability bridged. Laughter reclaiming night. August unveiled threat anew. Anonymous vandalism. Society windows smashed. Erasing history scrawled in hate's hand. Tied to a neocon group. Backlash to pride's visibility. Police dragged feet. Hate crime? Prove intent. Jamie's vigilance reignited. Patrols with society security, but Alex pushed proactive. Community watch, ally trainings. Climax crested in a midnight rally. Torches metaphorical, voices amplified. Victor outed as funder to the group, hypocrisy exploding. Resignation forced, exhibit reclaimed. Victory bittersweet, Jamie's arm around Alex. We endure. September schooled surrender. Jamie's group trip to Yosemite, vet retreat. Left Alex solo, anxiety gnawing. Journals filled, gratitudes, fears. Reunion at the loft, Jamie sun-kissed, sharing summit photos. Clarity up there. You're my peak. October's fog mirrored mysteries. A letter from Tacoma, Lena's wedding invite, Foster alums uniting. Road trip decided, Subaru loaded, playlist nostalgic. Ceremony lakeside, vows echoing their own unspoken. Toasts to survival, dances under stars. November elections loomed, tensions national, anti-LGBT bills snaking legislatures. Activism surged, petitions, calls, society hosting town halls. Exhaustion crept, but purpose fueled. Thanksgiving potluck with new friends, trans chefs turducken, non-binary DJs spins, family reimagined. December dance closure. Anniversary escape to Big Sur. Cliffs crashing ocean symphonies, cabin hearth aglow. Jamie's gift, engraved compass, true north, us. Alex's, poem-etched canvas, entwined horizons. New Year whispered wonders. Exhibit opening, migrations of the heart, crowds weeping, cheering. In the throng, Riley hugging tight. You made space. Jamie's whisper, we all did. Cycles renewed, love's map redrawn. Challenges charted, but compass true. The ginkgo leaves outside the loft window blazed saffron, a fleeting fire against San Francisco's encroaching chill, but inside, Alex's world smoldered with unresolved heat. November's elections had passed like a fever dream. Victories Pyrrhic, losses carving deeper into the queer community's resolve. The LGBT Historical Society buzzed with post-mortem strategizing, Alex knee-deep in grant proposals for expanded archives, but his focus splintered, drawn to Jamie's subtle unraveling. It began with missed calls, Jamie's vet group intensifying, deeper dives into trauma's abyss. Returnings grew later, eyes hollowed, laughter forced. Over Chippy No at a North Beach hole-in-the-wall, Alex probed gentle. Heavy sessions? Jamie nodded, fork spearing calamari. Unpacking the op. The kid we couldn't save. Details trickled. Afghanistan dust, a village raid gone catastrophic, civilian boy caught in crossfire. Echoes of their own boyhood rescue, twisted cruel. Empathy warred with alarm. Alex suggested joint therapy, but Jamie demurred. My burden. Don't want it bleeding into us. The wall rebuilt, brick by polite deflection. Alex respected space, but solitude bred overthink. Sketches of fractured silhouettes, Jamie's face obscured in shadow. Thanksgiving anchored amid chaos. Riley's visit extended, crashing with Theo who'd relocated for tech art fusion. Potluck sprawled. Mia zooming from Seattle with snark, Lena shipping pies from Tacoma. Table groaned. Tofu turkey, candied yams, stories swapped like recipes. Jamie animated, toasting, chosen chaos, but Alex caught the flicker, dissociation glazing his gaze mid-laugh. Post-feast, dishes sudsing, confrontation bubbled. You're drifting, Alex said, sponge squeezing. Jamie dried a plate, shoulders tensing. Trying to stay. Truth cracked open later, in bed's cocoon, the boy's face. It's you at 12. Failing him. Failing us. Tears wet pillows, Alex holding fierce. You didn't fail. Or did. We're here now. December deepened dives. Holiday markets twinkled. Union Square carols, artisan stalls hawking pride ornaments. They wandered hand in hand. Jamie selecting a ceramic lighthouse. For our storms. Gift exchange intimate. Alex's bespoke journal, pages prepped with prompts. What saves you today? Jamie's vintage camera, capture the light. But shadows lengthened. A society donor, silver-haired philanthropist with conservative underbelly, pulled funding over provocative exhibits. Backlash internal, staff fractures, Alex mediating as interim director. Stress compounded Jamie's load. Arguments ignited over trivial, forgotten dry cleaning, uneven chore splits, masks for deeper drifts. Climax ignited New Year's Eve, Castro streets throbbing with revelry. They joined the throng, confetti cannons priming, but Jamie paled at fireworks boom, proximal to mortars. Panic attack crested, breaths ragged, vision tunneling. Alex guided to an alley alcove, grounding techniques whispered. Name 5 senses. My voice, your pulse, fog's chill. Collapse averted, but reckoning followed. Homeward cab, Jamie shattered. I can't. The noise inside's louder than the city. Alex's resolve hardened. Then we amplify ours. Full immersion. Group for me too. Couples intensives. Jamie resisted. Not your fight, but Alex's fire. Loves the enlistment. All in. January's rain lashed relentless, mirroring purges. Couples therapy in a Haight-Ashbury office. Tapestries muffling sobs. Dr. Leong, a soft-spoken queer therapist, unpacked layers. Jamie's guilt as armor. Alex's rescue complex as crutch. Exercises raw, letter-writing ghosts, role reversals of their Tacoma night. Healing hurt, but bonds mended stronger. February thought. Society stabilized, new grants from grassroots, Victor's downfall a cautionary. Alex's exhibit toured, resonant scars, Jamie co-designing digital overlays. Opening in LA, road trip cathartic, Pacific Coast highway curves, podcasts on resilience. Hotel nights tender, vulnerabilities voiced. March momentum. Riley's college acceptance, SF state. Art major, celebrated with dim sum feasts. Mentorship formalized, studio hours, portfolio critiques. Jamie bonded too, teaching graphic basics, uncle figure emerging. April unearthed, unexpected. Harlan's sister resurfaced, dying, seeking final words. Video call arranged, Alex moderating. Forgive for you, she rasped. Not me. Closure clicked, grudge dissolving like sea salt. May's blooms, burst collaborative. Joint workshop at the Society. Vets and artists, narratives visualized. Jamie's piece, a digital collage of sand and sound merging, stunned, vulnerability valorized. June pride crescendoed unity. Float design, lighthouse beacon, their symbol. Marching, Riley on shoulders, Theo filming, Mia live streaming. Post-parade after-party, Jamie pulled Alex to the rooftop. You saved me again. Kiss amid stars, eternal. July's heat forged forward. SF's Queer Film Fest selected Alex's doc short. Animated their story, Jamie voicing. Premiere packed, Q&A electric. Loves the plot twist. August adventured. Yosemite return, Jamie leading a center hike for youth. Trails tested, summits triumphed. Riley conquering fears, parallels drawn. September schooled serendipity. Anonymous benefactor, society endowment, source a reformed victor, amends monetary. Redemption's ongoing, note read. October's harvest, harvest of harmony. Anniversary Big Sur Redux, vows whispered, partners and all. November circled gratitude. Elections monitored, actions local, voter drives, sanctuary builds. December dance dreams. Holiday cards collaborative, designs sent nationwide. New Year, resolution renewed. Loft aglow, champagne bubbling, Jamie's toast. To the boy who became my everything. Alex's ad. And the man who shows me home. In fog's embrace, love's light pierced. Enduring, evolving, unbreakable.